First of all, I'm very happy. I'm honored to have all of you on this particular webinar, and it gives me great pleasure, immense pleasure. And it is my duty to just put a few brief, remarks about exactly how it all started, and then I'll request our chairman, Mr. Frank Narona, with his own brief introductory talk, and then we will hand it over to Dr. Ashok for his lecture on today's topic. So, without much ado, let me say a few words about our organization. Um, First of all, warm welcome to all the people. Good evening. We are fortunate to have two very distinguished personalities. I would include Mr. Sushil Kumar, who's our legal president. So three of the people, very distinguished people among us today. I am honored to welcome our chief guest for this webinar, Sri Dr. Ashok Alur, the director of Center of Excellence, FPO, and our chairman, Sri Fang Narona, retired chief spokesperson for Government of India, who served under several presidents and prime ministers, and our honorable legal president, Mr. Sushil Kumar, who's an authority on crime, the crime branch. So he has been a lot of inspiration for us in putting together this organization. So before we move on, just a little introduction about UGRO Agritech Foundation. Our NGO was incorporated last December 2020. It was co-founded by friends from various domains like IT, banking, aviation, agriculture, financial, and legal domains. We wanted to work on some tool that could connect us with the remote villages of India, reach out to marginal micro farmers, artisans who are in dire straits and have started migrating in large numbers from their villages to towns and cities. We thought of finding a solution for this enormous problem in our little way, in our own humble way, and immediately started working on a digital platform that can facilitate both farmer artisan trade as well as distribution of community welfare. The digital platform will ensure smooth, secure, disciplined trade of farmer artisan trade. We are planning it that way. And it will be protected by anti-fraud technologies. And that should be available both as a web portal as well as a mobile application. So all of us are aware that the migration of rural communities is detrimental to the very ecology and poses a serious threat to the planet. And that's the reason why we thought, we should do something about this and ensure that the migration is arrested. The people stay put in their own natural habitats and they take care of the natural fauna and flora. Within a few weeks of formation of our NGO, we discovered that the FPO, or the Farmer Producer Organization, seemed to hold a lot of promise. It is the most tailored solution as far as we saw to an age-old stubborn problem of the farmers. So our director of operations, incidentally, Sri Siddeshwar Ji, he hails from Hindupur. He is very closely connected with farmer groups across length and breadth of Anantapur district. He jumped at the idea of promoting an FPO. We are trying to christen it as Sri Raghavendra FPO. And we started mobilizing and organizing the farmers so that they can form a producer company in his area. I must say that it was a stroke of sheer luck that I came across the Center of Excellence in Bangalore. And to my surprise, I discovered that Dr. Ashok Alur, he happened to be the director of Center of Excellence. In fact, I had been listening to several webinars on FPOs and agriculture-related webinars in the last couple of months. And I was pleasantly surprised that Dr. Ashok Alur's mobile number was listed on the website. I reached out to him immediately through WhatsApp, and he was very kind. He responded immediately and very positively. And within days, we were able to strike a rapport, and he full-heartedly agreed to support the NGO cause as well as deliver today's lecture on do's and don'ts in FPO formation. I'm ever grateful to him for his kind gesture and his offer of help for our mission to promote FPOs. Just this morning, one of our mobile app programmers is the son of a farmer and a software engineer, Sai Krishna from Chittoor district, He is developing our Android and iOS mobile applications from Andhra Pradesh. He inquired about whether he can promote another FPO there, getting in touch with his friends and people around the area, because I believe in Chittor district they had thrown mangoes on the street recently because they could not find buyers. And there's been a conspiracy of traders against the farmers in that particular locality. So our UGRO Foundation seems to be in the right place at the right time. Okay. After this brief introduction, let me not waste much time on this because we have very interesting programs coming up. First, let me introduce our Honorable Chairman, Sri Frank Narona. Sri Frank Narona belongs to the Indian Information Service of 1982 batch. He retired just last year on the 30th of April 2018. It was, I think, not a couple of years ago, after ending more than 35 years of government service. Sri Frank Narona, having held different positions of office in Delhi, he has had the privilege of working with the Prime Minister's office for nearly 6 years, when Sri Rajiv Gandhi, Sri VP Singh, Sri Chandrasekhar, and also 4 months of Sri Narasimha Rao as Prime Ministers. In his career spanning 35 years, he has also served in various media units of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. He was also Deputy Press Secretary to the President of India, while Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma was our President. Sri Narona was the spokesperson for the Ministry of Communications and worked closely with Sri Bhuta Singh, Sri Jagmohan, Srimati Sushma Swaraj, and Sri Ramvilas Paswanji, who were the cabinet ministers. Post his transfer to Bangalore in 2001, he headed Press Information Bureau, PIB, and Directorate of Advertisement and Publicity in Karnataka. He was later promoted as the Director General, DAVP Delhi in 2009. Prior to his retirement, he held the post of Principal Director General at Press Information Bureau, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India, and he was also the principal spokesperson to the Government of India. During this time, he worked closely with the BJP government led by Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi, looking after information management and communication systems and media. He played a key role in the dissemination of cabinet decisions and organized mega media campaigns on the flagship policies of the government. Post-retirement, he settled in Bangalore, but continues to be associated with the central government. Sri A.P. Frank Narona was born in Hassan and did his schooling there at St. Joseph's School. Later, he was graduated in arts from St. Joseph's College, Bangalore. While in college, he was a gold medalist in political science and economics and was also a debater. His hobbies included reading, debating, athletics. He has been adjudged as one of the outstanding alumni of the college. Sri Narona has deep interest in management and spirituality. He is an avid follower of the non-dualistic spiritual system enunciated in A Course in Miracles. He has authored 2 books, Thought is Your Enemy and No Way Out, which contains conversations with the internationally renowned philosopher Sri U.G. Krishnamurti. At this juncture, I would like to point out that UGRO Agritech Foundation carries UGROW, UGROW, UG's name there, because he's been inspiration to us in many ways. He has fired us all up in his own ways. He's also Frank Narona ji is also a landmark forum graduate and is trained to produce breakthrough results in one's personal and professional life. I now request Sri Narona ji to say a few words before the guest lecture by Honorable Dr. Sri Ashok. Thank you very much, sir. Over to you.
Thank you so much. And I think you read my biodata. I was happy to listen to it after a long time. Maybe it was not necessary, but I am really, truly privileged and honored to meet Dr. Ashok Alur. And I've heard a lot about you, Mr. Ashok, and I saw your degrees. I think maybe half the session will be required to really explain that, I'm sure. But behind that also, you have received so many awards, including Independence Day Award, I read. And that shows the kind of, apart from your work experience of 20 years and director of excellence, the passion you might have had, the dedication you have had for this cause of the farmers, and that we want to salute you really, and
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much.
it's really a great privilege that our Suresh has been able to rope you in this infant
Yes,
organization called YouGrow, and he's really good. He's a bridge of communication between all and sundry. When I retired, as you perhaps listen to some of my biodata, I have nothing to do with farmers per se. In civil service examinations, we used to study marginal and small farmers and 83% of the holdings and all those things. And they have been given a very bad deal because of not organizing themselves. But he told me one thing, when you have an intention, sir, the whole universe conspires to help you. And I was truly inspired by him, actually. That is why I accepted this humble, what shall I say, whatever post that he says formally he has bestowed on me. But his commitment also, Dr. Ashok Alur, he is talking, breathing of helping only farmers. And the way he has contacted you, he has contacted so many and has put together such a powerful team from the legal, operational, IT, bankers, you name it, and he knows somebody there, So really, Suresh, you are great and your team is great. Now I am a part of your team. I shouldn't say you and me, that we. And this evening, we are truly privileged to have Dr. Ashok because our YouGrow is at a very infant stage. And whatever I have learned from him a little, it tells that, we must somehow handhold these farmers who are being exploited. They cannot have proper market linkages. They cannot have proper credit system, some scientific practices. So he was very keen, the way they are exploited, we must, sir, bring in some kind of a objective and impartial way of helping them where, there is no fraud or there is no scam, and totally for the benefit of the farmers. And this, he told me, is the objective of his initiative, and I immediately bought it. Now, I'm not only a chairman, I'm also learning. I'm a student, and I'm really getting interested. And thanks to Suresh, basically, because I talked to him, what is this, what is that? And what we really look forward today from you, Dr. Ashok, he used that word POPI, right? Producer Promoting.
Producer
What is the full form?
Organization Promoting Institute.
Yeah.
Producer Organization Promoting Institute.
Yeah, helped by NABARD and such organizations. So we basically lack funds or, maybe the whole technical aspects, what we need to do, what we don't need to do. Though he has taken up a pilot project in Hindupur, Anandpur, under the able leadership of Mr. Siddheshwar. He is also Director Operations. And he talks like a small child who is full of wonder how the farmer can be helped to trade the goods. How just before this meeting he was telling me, sir, have you heard like the tomatoes are thrown on the road, or onions are thrown on the road, even mangoes are thrown, and somebody is contacting me how to get all this to the market and make some profit or money. He says, for exactly this reason that we want. But though it is very ambitious, his program, what I appreciate in him is we are going stage by stage. And he has taken it as a pilot project, this YouGrow. We have all tried to see how to make it into a very stable, sustaining, and helpful organization towards the welfare of the farmers. And as I said, in this, we are looking for every kind of guidance from you. You are a diamond for us this evening. So we are all very keen to listen to you without wasting much time. I extend again a warm welcome to you on behalf of YouGrow. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'll just take a minute to introduce our speaker. I just requested him for his bio, and I was I had a challenge. It was 21 pages long.
No, no, I was not having I didn't get the short copy. I was trying to send you a one-page
He
note.
said it was an abridged one.
Yeah.
21 pages were abridged. Then I
No,
said,
no,
okay.
we must know who's who. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So today I'll just take a brief while to introduce the speaker. Dr. Professor Aller has a PhD in agriculture with 20 plus years of experience in agriculture, higher education, international cooperation, natural resources management, etc. He has held different positions in Swiss Agency for Development Cooperation, International Crops Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics and Horticultural University, and also he served as a Vice Chancellor of Best IU Andhra Pradesh. Presently, he is the Director, Center of Excellence for Farmer Producer Organizations. He is the recipient of many prestigious awards, including honors from ICRISAT for his contributions to reduce poverty, malnutrition, environmental degradation. He has an honorary recognition from FCRI Thailand. He has an honorary credential from China. He is honors from Government of Mozambique and Swaziland. He has Sarvottam Seva Award, Science Communicators Award, Independence Day honor from Government of Karnataka. He has served as honorary expert for the food security programs of Mozambique and Swaziland, Regional Committee of UNDP GF, Israel Technology Committee, etc. This is trying to actually only touch the tip of the iceberg. There is a lot underneath the surface, and without taking much of my time and the audience's time, I would like to actually give it over to Dr. Ashok for his enlightening lecture. Thank you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you very much, sir.
We're honored. We're honored.
Thank you. Yeah. Maybe I seek your excuse sometime because I had a very severe COVID. I have not completely come out of
Oh my God.
that. Maybe that weakness and still
Sadness.
breathlessness and things. Some things will still continue because I had a very severe CT score. So
We understand.
keeping that, I request you to bear with me. Sir, this is a very interesting thing. Suresh ji, very interestingly, he approached me and I really responded and I told him, yes, whatever information that's required, that's pertaining to farmer producer organizations, I must be more than pleased to provide it, whether it's to an individual or to an institution. Because our job is to see that information is shared with as many as people as possible. So with that, he was trying to explain that they would like to set up farmer producer organizations in Hindupur. Though officially my jurisdiction is restricted to Karnataka, but we still cater to other neighboring states also. Coming to the concept of FPOs, I would like to just give a brief background. You are all aware, India has close to a century of experience with cooperatives. Now we borrowed this concept of cooperatives from Germany, and we modified it to our local situations. And if you look at the overall experience from these cooperatives in the Indian context, except few states, example Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat, in most of the states, the entire cooperative movement was not very successful, and because of several external influences, political interferences, many other things. So in 2002, central government requested Professor Y.K. Allag, one of the known economists in the center, and they set up a committee under his chairmanship to study and guide the government. How do we improve the existing system of cooperatives in the country to help these small and marginal farmers? Or they also requested him to suggest a new institutional setup that can benefit the farmers, that can help the farmers in addressing various constraints, challenges that they face in their regular day-to-day life. So after a detailed study, the committee submitted a report saying that in most of the cases, cooperatives have worked only on the welfare measures and not completely. They have not looked at agriculture as an industry or as a business model. So they suggested to improve the institutional mechanism to help these small and marginal farmers in the country so that they are brought under a common umbrella of FPOs, and these FPOs work really on a business line. So in 2013, say after 10, 11 years, after a lot of debate and discussions on the recommendations made by Professor Y.K. Alag committee, the central government took a decision to amend the Companies Act of 1956 so that incorporation of farmer producer organizations on the same lines as that of a private company was made possible. And 2013 amendment enables farmers to register their organizations, their collectives as companies, and they can work like any private sector organization. So this is the background. Coming back to the Indian subcontinent, as Dr. Francie was telling, we have close to 80-85%. Most of the farmers in Indian subcontinent, they are in the category of small to marginal farmers. It means they own less than a hectare of land. So that is the biggest challenge. And if you look at the rural scenario, most of the farmers, because I keep interacting with farmers on a day-to-day basis, we have traveled extensively in the countryside. We have seen the problems and difficulties faced by the small and marginal farmers. So they always try to see that their children do not get into agriculture. They go to the nearby cities and take up even a small job and work there. So there are challenges are many. So for the Indian subcontinent, for us, it is very, very important. If you look at the 12th plan working group's recommendation, it very clearly says that Indian agriculture continues to be dominated by the small and marginal farmers. So unless we address the challenges faced by them, we will not be able to resolve the issues in agriculture sector. So keeping this in mind, it becomes a very prime and important fact that we have to build the capacities. We have to retain the interest of these small and marginal farmers into agriculture. We should see that they continue to do agriculture in the days to come. And unless we make it remunerative to them, unless we make it profitable to them, unless we make it interesting to them, it will not be possible for us to retain this huge number of small and marginal farmers in agriculture. So that is the biggest challenge in front of the government, and also, is a challenge to many people, development thinkers like you. So keeping this in mind, the clear, the criteria for formation of FPOs, everything was designed. So I would like to come to what is a farmer producer organization. As per the Act, 10 farmers, whether big, small, medium, large, or whatever it is, they can come together. They can institute their own collective in the form of a company. There is no compulsion that they should have 1,000 farmers, 2,000 farmers, nothing. 10 farmers can come together and they can form a own company. But if you look at the experiences, say from 2000 onwards, people started incorporating the companies. And if you look at few states, again Maharashtra, Karnataka, and then Madhya Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, these are the 4 leading states who have FPOs, growing, and they are making a very interesting cases here and there. So based on the experience, the very purpose of bringing these farmers into a collective is to see that they get the benefit of collectivization, whether it is bulk purchase of inputs, whether it is bulk marketing of their produce. So in that case, to gain the benefits of economies of scale, based on the experiences, we always recommend that each FPO should have at least a minimum number of 300 to 500 farmers, and it can go up to 1,000, 1,500. So that is the experience. So 10 farmers can come together. There is no limit to the maximum number of farmers who can become the members. Then FPO is synonymous to many other words. Many times people call as farmers company, producer organization, all are same. It is FPO is farmer producer organization. People call them as producer companies, FCs, PCs, farmers companies. These are the different names. So what exactly is the legal frame for the FPOs? It is basically, it's a legal entity registered under Companies Act, formed by the primary producers. Basically, people who would like to become members of the FPO should own land in their name. So that is the beauty, because no other person, no businessman, no employee, or anybody else who do not own a land, who is not involved in primary production, they cannot become members of the FPO. This is very interesting thing. Shares are equal, voting rights are equal. Whether you are a big farmer or small farmer, these are interesting things. Shares cannot be traded in FPO. We cannot sell and buy the shares in FPO. So these are some of the important features. I will go one by one. So what type of objectives are there behind formation of an FPO? See, the important objective of an FPO is to ensure better income for the producers to an organization of their own. We are just trying to facilitate, help them, and push them towards success. So small farmers who do not their produce, basically when it comes to buying of inputs, when it comes to selling, they again sell in the retail market. So to get the benefit of economy of scale, they have to come together. They have to indicate that they have a of material to showcase. So besides this, in agriculture marketing, we are also aware that there's a long chain of intermediaries who knock off the maximum percentage of benefit that should have really gone to the farmers. So it is long chain of intermediaries. They work in a very non-transparent way. We are all aware, we come from the rural areas, how they really cheat the farmers. So that is very, very a painful issue with regard to the small farmers in the local situation. So it is very important that through these farmer producer organizations, we would like to cut down the number of intermediaries involved either in the distribution of inputs or in the marketing of their produce. So FPOs can directly work with the producers, basically the input producers. They can buy in bulk, distribute to their members, and when the members produce their own products, then they can aggregate them and they sell it. It increases their bargaining power. Coming to basically in Indian context, if you see, we have different national and state level organizations. We have an organization called Small Farmers Agri Business Consortium. This is called as SFAC. They are based in Delhi, and this is the organization that formulates different schemes, different programs for the FPOs. And now you are all aware that during the last year budget announcement, Honorable Prime Minister announced that there will be formation of 10,000 FPOs across the country in the next 2 to 3 years time. So they have identified, they have identified certain organizations such as SFAC, NCDC, then NABARD. In case of Karnataka, the Department of Watershed Development. They are all the implementing agencies in the country. So they act as implementing agencies. They also work through the cluster-based business organizations. Earlier, we used to call them as resource institutions or POPIs. POPI is producer organization promoting institution. This was the term used by NABARD, for the resource institutions who handhold, who support the formation of FPOs in the initial stages of their setting up. So this is one thing. And if you look at the support mechanism. Support mechanism available is Government of India through several schemes, whether it's marketing scheme, agriculture scheme, cooperative schemes, horticulture schemes. There are several schemes which usually individual farmers have difficulties to fetch their benefits. But through this FPO, they can certainly fetch a lot of benefits. And when it comes to state government, respective state governments, especially in case of Karnataka, it's very friendly with regard to FPOs. So we have been able to promote over 850 FPOs in Karnataka, and this is also in progress. And the vision of the government is to see that there is at least one FPO in the Hobli. Hobli is nothing but a cluster of villages in a taluka. Each taluka may have 2 to 3 Hoblis. But as of now, the central government vision is to have at least one FPO in one taluk. So that's what now we are trying to implement the program. So what are the important features? This is very important for us to understand. One is an FPO is formed by the primary producers who are basically the farmers. Nobody else can become the members in this association. So, and it is a registered body. It's a legal entity. It can be registered either under Companies Act or under Cooperative Act. Preferences for Companies Act. We have seen the cooperative, institutions so far. So the most preferred legal format is to better to register it under Companies Act. It mainly deals with the business activities related to the primary produce of the farmers, and also it helps or works for the benefit of the member producers. So this is another important thing. And there is a provision to share the profit. Whatever the profit that is earned by the company can be shared among the farmers. So that is a very, very interesting aspect. So who can promote an FPO? FPO can be promoted by anybody. Development departments of the governments, whether it's state government or central government, they can promote an FPO. NGOs can promote FPO. Institutions like yours can promote FPO. NGOs can do it. Institutions, universities, bankers, cooperative societies, anybody can promote. Even this can be self-promoted also. 10 farmers coming together promoting an FPO is also possible. There is no restriction on that. So there are different legal forms. One is, I said, the most preferred one is this can be registered under Companies Act. This can be registered under Cooperative Societies Act. This can also be registered under autonomous, or mutually aided cooperative societies act, which is prevailing in some of the states like Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. Max Society Act is available. And this can also be registered under Multi-State Cooperative Societies Act. This can be promoted under as a Section 5 company of the Indian Companies Act. This can be also registered as a society. This can also be registered under Public Trust Act. But the most important for which I recommend and which I suggest is it is better to register it under Companies Act of 1956 as amended in 2013. Then if you look at the other aspects, one is there are different schemes. I was talking to you, Government of Karnataka, Government of India, and different state governments. They have also come out with their own policies. For example, 2018, in Karnataka, we formulated a state policy. We are one among the very few states in the entire nation to have a specific FPO policy for the state. It very clearly brings out the strategy to promote, strategy to strengthen, strategy to help these FPOs to become a self-owned, self-administered, and self-operative mechanisms or collectives of the farmers. So these are some of the things. And registration is mandatory. Now, because when we say there are a lot of informal groups which are operating, but when if you want to call yourself as a farmers company, one has to register it under any of the acts that I spoke and told you in the beginning. And then next comes, what are the benefits that a producer organization can give it to the farmers? The most important benefits from the FPO to the members of the FPO is one is primary producers. Most of the cases we have seen, we have heard, and we have experienced that they are cheated with regard to the quality of the inputs. But when they become members, the bulk purchase of inputs is done by the company. For example, if there are 1,000 farmers, we collect the indent: what crops, what seeds, what fertilizers, what protection, self plant protection chemicals, whatever inputs that are required by the members are purchased in bulk. It means an FPO can have a, a subsidy, a license for distribution of chemical fertilizers, organic fertilizers, manures. They can buy in bulk and distribute seeds. They can buy in bulk and distribute chemicals and other things. It means if you look at the chain of sale of these inputs, we have a state level distributor, we have a district level distributor, taluka level distributor, and then retailer. So these four steps are simply avoided. The FPO can directly, because we have linked FPOs. I will just quote the example. Several of our FPOs are now linked directly to IFCO, CRIBCO, MCF. They directly procure whatever quantity of fertilizers required by their farmers from the company. Company delivers it at their doorstep and they distribute it to their farmers. And whatever the margin of profit they give it to their state level, district level, regional level distributors, that entire profit is given to FPOs. Point number 2, they will not take any risk of cheating the farmers when it comes to quality, whether it is seed or fertilizer. So this is the biggest benefit. Here they will be able to save 30-35% of their cost on getting a good quality input. One. Second, there is no chance, they cannot afford to cheat the farmers with regard to quality. And if they do it, either they have to close down their shop or they cannot continue their business with the FPO in the days to come. Because the vision is maybe in next 10 years time, all business, all government schemes will go through FPOs. So that is one. It's the biggest benefit. The farmers, they get a good quality inputs, and that is one. Point number 2, when it comes to technology, a scientist like me cannot go to individual farmer and provide the technology. If a 1.5 acre farmer comes and calls me, we have millions of farmers, small farmers in the country. It is difficult for any extension officer or any technologist, any scientist to individually go and cater to their requirements. In this case, for example, 1,000 farmers, we also do not advise them to grow 101 crops. We study the market. We also identify the possible value chain which have better demands in the market and which is highly suitable for Hindupur to produce a particular crop. And then we tell them these are 4 to 5 good crops you can grow, and we can link you to the market. So the technology comes to their doorsteps. Any group of scientists, I will be pleased to come to a group of 1,000 farmers. They can train them, they can provide technologies, they can provide solution to their problems. This is possible and this can be facilitated through the FPOs. And then another important thing, when it comes to mechanization, we are all aware that the small farmers cannot keep big implements. They cannot own machineries like tractors, bigger implements, which are costly. It's not affordable by them. So an FPO can have a custom hiring center. There is a scheme. Each FPO can get close to 10 lakhs, minimum 10 lakhs, maximum 22 lakhs. It's a grant given to FPOs. They can buy the implements of their requirement, keep them in their center, hire them to the farmers at an affordable cost or a reasonable cost, help the farmers to use this mechanization on their farm. It is 2 acres, 2.5 acres, and so they can just hire and then pay minimum charges to the custom hiring center. So mechanization is possible, because you know that we have a very short window in agriculture. Anything can stop, but not agriculture. We cannot say that we will do it tomorrow. You have to do it today. You have to do it right now. So under that circumstances, to make use of the short agriculture window, basically the sowing window, mechanization is important. This can also be taken up by the FPOs. And the most important one is harvesting. They can, so if there are 500 farmers, identify 4 to 5 crops, and they can harvest together. Their produce identity remains separate, but when it comes to selling, they sell it together. So they say they can sell it at the farm gate, or they can take it to the factory gate and sell it. FPO can have negotiations with different types of buyers. They can be institutional buyers, they can be industrial buyers, they can be retail buyers. They can have whoever provides better markets to them, they can sell it. Now we have another 2 options available. As we are aware, India has also come out with a very interesting, marketing opportunity. That is ENAM, Electronic National Agriculture Marketing. So FPOs can register on the portal. It is completely free. They can display their material, and this is available across the country. A fellow sitting in Jammu Kashmir can bid for your produce, and whoever bids the highest, you can sell it. And if you're not satisfied with the price, you need not have to sell it, and you can again put it for auction next day. Similarly, in Karnataka, Karnataka is the only state which has another interesting initiative called REMS, Rashtriya E-Market, system. So Karnataka has this provision for all the FPOs. All FPOs with their individual farmers, they can register and they can sell their produce for a competitive price. There is no commission, and the money is directly credited into the accounts of the farmers, and the material is lifted from the farmer's place. So there are several other opportunities, but individually it becomes difficult. Institutionally, it is possible. This is another benefit that the farmers can get from the FPOs. Now, as we are talking about several schemes, we have schemes under National Horticulture Mission, we have schemes under National Horticulture Board, we have schemes under Atmanirbhar Bharat, we have schemes under MSME, lot of schemes. I will just quote one example. We helped one of the FPOs in Udupi, and they set up a good proposal, and they got 5 crores funding to set up a processing unit. One FPO getting 5 crore funding. So this can be a story with many other FPOs. They can set up a common facility. 2-3 FPOs, if they are producing groundnut in Hindupur, they can set up a decorticating unit, a butter, a peanut butter farming unit, or just frying of the butter, peanuts. Anything can be done. So this is possible in a group. So these are some of the benefits that they can do. They can have their own branding. In Karnataka, now we are trying to promote a single brand. Like Nandini, like Amul, Karnataka will come out with one single brand for all the producers of the farmers. They will be sold with certain set standards under that common brand. We will also help them to build a brand value and make the benefit out of it. So this is possible. Individual FPOs can also have their brands, but it is better they have a federation at the state level and then push their products for sale under that brand. So this is one of the important aspect. And if you look at the other benefits, we have many other benefits. For example, if government wants to procure the material under MSP, so they use the services of FPOs to serve as procurement agents. And now our contention is we are trying to help the FPOs. Whatever the cooperatives were getting the benefits, they also should be given to FPOs. And FPOs up to 100 crore business, they are exempted from several levies. So there are a lot of benefits government has offered. So these are few important benefits that the farmers can get from becoming the members of the FPO. When it comes to certain legal issues, yes, there are certain legal formalities to be completed. I will not go into the details of the requirements for registering the company, the documents. So it's very any company secretary can guide, and we can also guide. If I mean for your FPO, we will guide you. Not an issue. It's not an issue. So there are certain norms to be followed, and that's where we have to take it further. And I would like to also say one person, whether he or she can become members in more than one FPO, because this is a very interesting thing. If the FPO is of same objective, they cannot become members in two companies. If it is another producer company, for example, we can also have a producer company for the handicrafts people. For example, we are aware of a place called Channapatna in Mandya. They produce lot of handicrafts. They are also producers. They are not land based producers. If a farmer who is also a farming, he can become a member of an FPO. He can also become the member of the Channapatna, the craft producer company, because there is no conflict of interest. He cannot become member of another FPO. So that is the uh, another thing. So there are a lot of such things, and FPOs are also given lot of benefits if they want to process, if they want to participate in the export of their produce. So in the Indian context, few of the FPOs have reached the export status now. In Karnataka, we have registered close to 700 FPOs for under APEDA portal. APEDA provides lot of benefits to FPOs, their promotion, their branding, their packaging. There are a lot of subsidies available to FPOs. People have to make use of these subsidies and then get into exports. India has signed agreement with several governments. For example, India and UAE have signed an agreement. UAE would like to procure Indian FPO producers. So this umbrella can be used. I mean, these opportunities under this umbrella can be used by the FPOs. Then comes registration of an FPO. Close to 45,000 rupees, we can register a FPO. And as I mentioned, to start with, you should have about 10 people who will be subscribing to the FPO, and 10 members who will become the promoting directors. To start with that, and then you can definitely register an FPO. So we also help them with several schemes under NABARD. NABARD runs close to 20-25 schemes. I would like to just say it helps in setting up of the market infrastructure for FPO. They can have small outlets, they can have processing units, they can also help in tying up with the buyers, and also there are several other NHB schemes of GOI, Karnataka government or similar state governments. Lot of such things can be availed from NABARD and its schemes. We have NAB Kisan, we have NABARD, we have GOI, Department of Horticulture, Department of Marketing and Inspection. They provide close to 50 lakh rupees subsidy for the construction of godowns by the farmers. So one important reason why farmers go for immediate sale of their produce after the harvest, because they don't have a place to safely store their produce. That is one of the challenges, problems faced by the farmers. They don't have safe storage facilities, so they go for distress sale. Apart from the the cash requirement, the money requirement. This is also one of the reason. This will also help in improving the market facilities. Now, if they have a good go down, they can participate in the ENAM, they can participate in REM, they can even go for commodity trading, and they can sell directly their produce from their go down to the buyer who comes and picks it. If you're not interested in any type of processing, just harvest, clean it, and store it, and then sell it. So these are some of the things that the farmers can definitely do. So what are the interesting schemes available from the government? For example, Government of India through SFAC. If these farmers come together and put up about 15 lakh rupees, share capital, equal equity grant is given by Government of India. If farmers are contributing 15 lakhs, central government gives another 15 lakhs as an equity grant. It means farmer, if I am contributing 1,500 rupees share, another 1,500 rupees share is given by the SFAC. That is one interesting scheme. Then we have a credit guarantee fund scheme. Up to 2 crores, government gives credit guarantee. So bankers will not ask you to put up any guarantee for getting the funds. So this is another important thing. And I was mentioning to you, for creation of the storage facility. So the DMI, Department of Marketing and Inspection, minimum of the 33% of the project cost or 50 lakh rupees, whichever is highest, they will give. So that they will give for the construction of the go down. And see, the very important thing is, under MSME, there are several schemes for setting up of the processing units. Under Ministry of Food Processing, Government of India, there are several schemes, for example, right from 33% to 50%, with interest subvention to the extent of 3%. Several schemes, I will not go into the detail because this is just a preliminary discussion to understand what benefits can be availed from the government. There are several schemes that are helping the FPOs to grow into a good business institutions. So people can make use of those things, and that is possible. And one important thing is, this is run by the farmers themselves. There is no interference of the government. For example, if you formulate a 500 member owned company, they will select around 15 board of directors. They are responsible for the day-to-day business. Like any private sector company, board of directors are the people who are responsible for the day-to-day operations of the FPO. They will have a general body which will meet once in a year. This board of directors, they can meet minimum of 4 times, maximum any number of times they can meet. They will also have a good quality CEO who will be heading the company. And governments also have scheme. For the first 5 years management, they give around 25 lakh rupees for the management of the FPO. And for the business, they give around 18 lakh rupees. So for a custom hiring, I said, 10 lakh rupees can be a minimum grant, maximum 20 lakhs. You can also avail the CSR funds. So these are avenues that one can build with the interference of great people like you. You can certainly influence certain CSR funding, and we can help the FPOs to grow, to set up. And in Karnataka, Karnataka government is permitting the APMCs to provide space for the FPOs at 50% cost of the market cost. So like this, I can share with you, there are 101 government programs available to FPOs. So this can be made use of by the farmers. So the overall thing here is, farmers should come together. They should understand that it is their own institution. They have to not affiliate with their caste, creed, color, political parties, region, religion. They have to give it up. They should come as farmers into the group, take the benefits, and then be on their own. So this is in nutshell. I thought I will share with you, and we will spend another 10-15 minutes. If there are questions from the members, I will be able to answer their queries and questions so that we have at least a thorough understanding of the concept of FPO. In the entire country, we have around 8,000 FPOs, and in Karnataka, we have close to 1,000 FPOs. All state governments are promoting. We have now come out with a lot of management mechanisms, helping hands. The CBBO, your NGO can become a CBBO, a cluster-based business development organization. You can get it registered or recognized by Telangana government, and they will give, for promoting one FPO and handholding it for 5 years, they give a grant of 25 lakh rupees. So that's also possible. I'll guide you how to do that. If you want to try it in Karnataka, next year you can do it, because for the current year, the slots are done. So this is in nutshell, and I'll stop here, and I will listen to you. I'll be very happy to answer any queries, questions, doubts you have on the concept. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. And first of all, I must admit that it was not an easy thing to actually give a lecture after a COVID session. I know how it is because I went through it myself and my wife. We had COVID recently, and for days together, you feel sleepy and you don't have the energy, but you are able to manage it with all these kinds of drawbacks, and we're immensely grateful to you for that. Thank you so much.
Sir, in Karnataka, we have promoted. I was sharing with Suresh ji in the morning. We have promoted 20 Lambani farmer producer companies.
Yeah,
it's a unique.
Sent me. I came to know. Yes,
I forwarded it to
yeah.
It's a unique initiative in Karnataka. These FPOs are being launched, inaugurated on 12th of this month in the banquet hall of Karnataka, and Central Minister for Agriculture. We are launching these 20 FPOs. We have also helped them to formulate a federation. This federation will guide, link, and trade between the FPOs. For example, there is one FPO in Kalburgi. They produce very high quality tur dal. We have another FPO in, say, Badami. They produce very high quality groundnut. They will exchange the produce. They do the business between them, and they bulk it and they sell it at the higher level. So we are also trying to link them with industrial scale buyers. For example, I have discussed with the backward communities, the welfare department. They run several hundreds of hostels. Their requirement for food grains is huge. They can buy it. There is no intermediary. There is no market access, because FPOs can trade freely across the country from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. There is no barrier to marketing by FPOs. Their market, their place of business itself is like an APMC. Zero cess. Yeah.
I'm just curious to know, in Karnataka, you said 1,000 FPOs are there, roughly. What is the average membership of each FPO?
Very interesting question, sir. We have a lot of FPOs with 1,000 members. Right? Oh. And around 50% are 500 to 600.
So it's huge.
Yeah.
Sir, I have a few questions, and then I would like Jay is there presenting the meeting, Jay Anand. He was talking about linking. He's working for a private company, and they're trying to link the FPOs of Jammu and Kashmir with the FPOs of South India, and so on and so forth. Because the goods are coming all the way from Kashmir to South India. He says that the trucks should not go back empty. So he says the FPOs from South India can, trade the goods with the North Indian
Excellent,
FPOs.
Sir. Your Chittoor mangoes can be sent to Kashmir, and your Kashmir apples can be sent to Chittoor.
Excellent. Jay, are you around? Can you just come out with your,
Yeah,
whatever
good
plans
evening,
that you
sir.
have had?
Good evening, sir. Good evening,
Please, please
everyone.
ask. Please tell me.
It was
Good
nice
evening.
talk, sir, and you explained really nicely. It is, much more than expectation what I had. So it is really, I'm really thankful to you the way you have presented, and it is interesting thing. And it is eye opener for everyone, I hope. So we are planning to develop a platform where FPO can interact with other FPOs. I might be even asking the question, even to telling what I'm planning to do, because you have done lots of work in Karnataka, almost 1,000 FPOs you are working. How do the network? So our planning is very simple. So whatever products we are selling to the different states, it should not go empty from one location to other location. So every time it is travel, it should be filled. That is the platform we are trying to develop. We are promoting 3 states, nearly 7 FPOs we are promoting. 2 is in UP, 5 is in Jammu and Kashmir, and 1 is in Jharkhand. So 8 is there. Now,
Yeah.
but we got with NABARD nearly 20. So that is why we are planning, if we are handling 20, so we are planning for a better space for each and every organization, group of people. They can be benefited. But if we want to make it a bigger, like you are doing with 1,000, how we can do it better? That I want to hear from you.
Oh, very interesting question you have asked, sir. See, as I was mentioning in the beginning, uh, we are in a very growing stage, right? And if you, uh, if I had to answer your question, we basically at the state level, we have, if you look at the government budget announcement in Karnataka, we have also made an announcement that we are going to have a common platform for all these FPOs. What happened? There are certain close to 300 promoted by NABARD, 100 promoted by Horticulture Department, another 150 promoted by Watershed Department, Sericulture Department has promoted, Animal Husbandry has promoted, Fisheries Department has promoted. All of them, they work individually. And it is not the case. Now, Center of Excellence will hand over all of them for their training, capacity building, and their knowledge requirements. We are now trying to set up a digital platform wherein all these FPOs will be federated at the state level. They do business between them and they also cater to external requirements. For example, we have certain FPOs who produce very high quality dry grapes in northern Karnataka, for example, Bijapur and Bagalkot. The quality of dry grapes, resins, they produce is very high. And there are demands in the southern part which do not produce it. So, if the people buy it through the regular retail chain, they end up in paying 400 rupees, 500 rupees a kg of good quality resin. Whereas the cost is 150 rupees. The cost of an excellent quality resin is 150, 160 rupees. So, an FPO in southern Karnataka can buy from northern Karnataka FPO, partly share the benefit with them, also keep a part of benefit with them, and also benefit the consumers. One example, you are talking about Chittur mangoes. Sir, I tell you, there is also a lot of flaws in the technical aspects. Also, take the example of tomato produced in Kolar. Many times they just, because of anguish, they just come and throw them on the road. That is not the solution. Solution is we have to guide the farmers not to produce just the table purpose mangoes or table purpose tomatoes. They should be dual purpose. They should be able to process them into different products, whether it's ketchup, jam, jelly, whatever it is. So there are a lot of technical interventions in that. It has to happen. When there is no demand for the table purpose tomato, it should go for the processing. Similarly, in case of mango, see mango in Bangalore, people buy it at 500 rupees, 600 rupees a kg, and at the farmer's gate, they are brought at 30 rupees a kg. See the the price differences. So in that case, we have to have a common facility for the farmers who produce huge quality mango, quantity of mango, to process it. That has to happen. So that is the only solution to address these problems. Or this anguish will continue. People will come and throw their produce on the road. So in this case, setting up of a digital platform will be very, very helpful to FPOs to link internally and also link externally. For example, Aldhara is a UAE based company who would like to procure huge quantities of produce from the country, from India, basically from FPOs. For example, if one FPO is not able to supply X quantity of X product, two FPOs can come together. For example, in Karnataka, we have 14 FPOs who are producing banana. So if there's a huge demand, if there's a big order, all 14 can come together. Say that I have so much quantity, so much quantity. They can bulk their produce and sell it. Otherwise, Aldhara will not give that order. If I say I will produce only, supply only 100 tons, they say, sorry, Baba, I can't take it. My requirement is 1 lakh tons. So in that case, these 14 FPOs can come together. So the idea of digital platform will really link FPOs internally and also benefit for the external platform. And we are building it in Karnataka now.
Can I add one
Excellent.
more question first, if his permission is there?
Yeah, please, please.
Please.
So I'm just wondering, this digital platform will be controlled by the government, which will take care of the orders and the connection with the FPOs. So what is the role of FPO to reach out if they have some idea?
Sir, I tell you, actually, we would like to play only a facilitating role. As long as the federation, we are now this year, we are promoting the Federation of Karnataka Farmer Producer Organizations. The entire platform will be run by the FPOs, right? We will facilitate, we will give them support in sustaining this digital platform. One. Second, this will also offer, because last year I went to Germany to study the entire cooperative model, how they do it. The cooperative federations are very, very strong, right? We have completely lost that meaning here. So the federation not only gives technical solutions, it also gives audit solutions, it also gives market solutions, it also gives administrative solutions. We want our federation to be equipped with all these capacities. It takes time, but in the long run, they should not be looking at the government. They should be running their own business on their own. So this is what is the ultimate objective.
Mr. Subramaniam, you have a question, sir?
Sir, Ashok sir, good evening. It was a very excellent presentation. I work for ISRO actually.
Oh, very nice,
He's
Subramaniam ji.
the scientist with ISRO. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice.
Very excellent. Really, it was very informative. And as Jay was telling, it was an eye opener for all of us. Very good.
Yes.
Just I have one question, sir. This
Please.
act was passed in 1956.
Yes, sir.
After 50, 60 years, there has been some slackness, no, in the promoting this FPOs. I'm
Sir,
a farmer
yeah, please,
side.
please.
Father was a farmer, and we were always on the losing side, actually producing but not getting good profits and other things. Yes, sir.
Sir, I tell you, I also come from a farming family, right? And one thing I should very outrightly agree, that we never came together. Every sector in the society, they have conglomerated, they have formed their associations. Take the example of Barbers Association. If you go to a barber shop, their rates are fixed, right? And if you say, I will not give 120 rupees for a simple haircut, he will not do your haircut. This is true across their entire chain. Rates are fixed, they are together. But in case of farmer, we never did that. We never associated. There were several factors, there were several forces who pulled them, kept them apart, never allowed them to come together. Cooperative sector, we had lot of hope in cooperative movement. What happened? Lot of political interference, lot of local, regional, religious interferences. They did not allow our cooperative movement to succeed, right? So we failed there. After a lot of discussions, after a lot of deliberations, this model has come. Sir, I tell you, this is the last ray of hope for the farmers. If we fail to make this model, this institutional model, a successful model, we have no way for the farmers. I'm talking as a farmer, not as a director of the center. We have to see that everybody, it is the duty and responsibility of every individual in the society to help, to guide the farmers to see that this institutional model succeeds, it prevails with them on a long-term basis, and farmers, they resolve their difficulties through this institution and become stronger and stronger.
Thank you, sir. Well said, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Can I ask one more question on behalf of Suresh? Of course, you are all from deep experience. This is more a theoretical question because the centrally dedicated scheme is now to formulate 10,000 FPOs in 2-3 years, as you said. And
Yes, sir.
also, because of which each state is perhaps will take up something like the initiative of Karnataka, a mega digital platform to facilitate FPOs. Then what about a small initiative like ours vis-a-vis such big initiatives? I hope we will not be redundant,
Sure.
So
Very good questions.
don't mind
No,
me
no,
asking.
No.
You hit the nail on the head, sir.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, Frank, sir, I tell you,
Yes.
you can set up a model FPO. I tell you, it is
Oh.
not a big game. You can set up a model FPO wherein government can come and see your FPO. I definitely, it is possible. It is not the question of an ocean. Yes, government is a big
Yeah.
ocean. They do it, but it is, sir.
Yeah,
there
we
are
know about it. Yes.
there are self-promoted FPOs who have done extremely good job. I would like to quote one example of an FPO in Karnataka called Sahyadri. No, not Sahyadri. This Sahaja. They are only into organics. Today, they are known everywhere. The CEO of the company used to receive 5,000 rupees salary when it was started. Today, the CEO receives 1,50,000 rupees salary. It is not supported by any government, any initiative, any scheme. It is self-promoted. Sir, I tell you, it is the will. It is the commitment of the individual members. It is the commitment of the hand-holding institutions like yours. They can do wonders. I tell you, Nitte.
Yeah, I think
Nitte people. Yeah, it is possible.
you will be our guiding star in which case, because I thought that our role will be basically to facilitate and give all the information system and all related facilities to FPOs for their prosperity. But Mr. Suresh, am I right? We are in alignment.
Yeah.
Huh?
Basically, yeah. Basically, I would like to this question. Perhaps I have set up questions which might possibly, answer the concern that we have. Sir, I share that concern with you. Exactly our role. You're trying to basically focus exactly our role in the FPO. What I understood from whatever I have had, the opportunities to learn, resources that I could get on the internet, and also participated in several webinars in which Dr. Ashok Alur also spoke in some of the webinars. I've been listening to Dr. Ashok Dalwai, who's been also from Bangalore, and so on and so forth. I understood that there is a need not only, from the government side, there are institutions to promote FPOs. It's just a given, whether it's a NABARD or a CFAC or whatever, NBFC, I don't remember, LCDC or something. There are 3 institutions who are being given the responsibility to start 10,000 FPOs. Apart from that, like Dr. mentioned, Ashok mentioned just now, the CBBOs, the cluster-based business organizations, which earlier were called as POPIs and resource institutes.
RIs, research
RIs,
institute.
yeah. See, though the fact remains that the implementing agencies at the top level are 3 in the country, when it comes to the actual modalities, the ground realities, how to implement the farmer producer organizations, it is still an open ground. Is that right, sir? There is a lot of possibility that a lot of intervention is required, public private intervention is required. So this is where NGOs can come in. And this is what we have chosen as a model. Like as an NGO, we would like to promote as many FPOs as possible, work hand in hand with the governments, hand in hand with the centers of excellence, etc. Because right now we are very fortunate. We have a director of operations who belongs to the farmer community, who's based in Hindupur, who's connected to multiple villages, who knows on the ground level thousands of farmer families. And so Mr. Siddeshwar is there. He's also sitting in the forum today, he's in the audience. And he's responsible for basically bringing out this idea that an FPO can be made, created in the Hindupur constituency. So we thought of actually trying to facilitate it. So this was the basic reason why we came in. There are a few questions. Yes, Mr. Siddeshwar is there. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್, ತುಂಬಾ ಸಂತೋಷ ತಾವು ಬಂದಿರೋದು. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ಮ ಅಶೋಕ್ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರು ಇದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಮತ್ತೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಫ್ರಾಂಕ್ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರು ಇದಾರೆ. ನೈಸ್ ಟು ಸಿ ಯು ಸರ್. ತಾವು ಏನಾದ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇಷ್ಟಪಟ್ಟರೆ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿ, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿ, ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಏನ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು.
ಸರ್ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸರ್.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಸಿದ್ದೇಶ್ವರ, ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಸರ್ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ರೈತರು ಕುಟುಂಬದಿಂದ ಬಂದಿರೋದು ಸರ್.
ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ದವರೆಲ್ಲ ರೈತರ ಮಕ್ಕಳೇ, ಅದೇ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ
ಸರ್. ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಕಂಡು ಬಂದಂಗೆ ನಾನು ಈ ಫೀಲ್ಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ತಿರುಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್. ರೈತರು ತುಂಬಾ ಕಷ್ಟ ಬೀಳ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಬೆಳೆದಂತ ಬೆಳೆಗೆ ಸರಿಯಾದ ಒಂದು ಬೆಲೆ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾರ್ಬೇಕು, ಏನ್ ಮಾರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಮಧ್ಯ ದಳಾರಿಗಳ ಅವರು ತುಂಬಾ ಲಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಅದ್ ಬೆಳೆದಂತ ಬೆಳೆಗೆ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ನಾವು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸರಿಯಾದ ಒಂದು ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ರೈತರಿಗೆ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಏರಿಯಾದಾಗ ಈ ಕಡೆ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಈ ಕಡಲೆ ಬೀಜ ಆಗ್ಲಿ, ಅಕ್ಕಿ ಆಗ್ಲಿ, ರಾಗಿ ಆಗ್ಲಿ, ಗೋಧಿ ಆಗ್ಲಿ, ಈ ಕಡೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಜೋಳ, ಮೆಕ್ಕೆಜೋಳ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಬೆಳೀತಾ ಇದಾರೆ. ಬಟ್ ಅವರು ಆ ರೈತರೇನೆ ಒಂದು ಮನೆ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅವ್ರು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಆ ಮಾರಾಟ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಸೌಲಭ್ಯ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸುರೇಶ್ ಸರ್ನು ನಾವು ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಭೇಟಿಯಾಗಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ರೈತರು ಉಪಯೋಗ ಆಗ್ತೈತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಮನೆಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಬೆಳೆದಂತ ಬೆಳೆಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ರೈತ ಮನೆಗೆ ಕುತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಒಂದು ಡಿಜಿಟಲ್ ಇದು ಆ್ಯಪ್ ಇದ್ದ ಅವ್ರು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಮನೆಗೆ ಅವ್ರು ಬೆಳೆದಂತ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಬೆಳೆದಂತ ಇವು ಕಡಲೆ ಬೀಜ ಆಗ್ಲಿ, ಅದು ಫೋಟೋ ತೆಗೆದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದ್ರಾಗ ಇಟ್ಟು ನಮ್ದು ಇದೈತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಮಾರ್ಕೊಂಬಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿರ್ತೈತಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸಿದ್ದೆ ಸುರೇಶ್ ಸರ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರು ಈ ಚರ್ಚಾಂಶದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಭೇಟಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಸಲಹೆ ತಕೊಂಡು ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಬೇಸಿಕಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನನಗೆ ಸುಮಾರು ಒಂದು 5-6 ಸಾವಿರ ಜನ ರೈತರದಲ್ಲಿ ಭೇಟಿ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋರು ಇದಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಿರಂತರ ನಾನೊಂದು ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಬೋರ್ವೆಲ್ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಅವರು ಬೇಸಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಕನೆಕ್ಷನ್ ವಗೈರಾ ಇವೆಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಸೌಲಭ್ಯ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಸರ್. ಸೊ ಹಂಗಾಗಿ ಅವ್ರ ರೈತರ ಕಷ್ಟ ಗೊತ್ತು. ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳೋದೇನಂದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ನಾವ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬೆಳೆದ್ರು ಸರಿಯಾದ ಒಂದು ಬೆಲೆ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಎಂಬ ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಸರ್ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನಾನ ಒಂದು ಪರಿಹಾರ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಎಂಬ ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶದಿಂದ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ರಿಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸಿದ್ದೆ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮ್ಮಂತ ದೊಡ್ಡವರು ಸಲಹೆ ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಉಪಯೋಗ ಆದ್ರೆ ಮೇಲು ಅಂತ ನನ್ನ ಅಭಿಪ್ರಾಯ ಸರ್.
ಒಳ್ಳೇದು ಸಿದ್ದೇಶ್ವರ ಅವರೇ, ತಾವು ಹೇಳಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಿಚಾರ. ನಾನು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭದಲ್ಲಿ ರೈತ ಉತ್ಪಾದಕ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಥಾಪನೆಯ ಕುರಿತಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಮಾತನಾಡುವಾಗ ಹೇಳಿದೆ, ಕೇವಲ ಮಾರುಕಟ್ಟೆಗೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಾವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮಾಧಾನವನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಕೊಳ್ತಾ ರೈತ ತನ್ನ ದೈನಂದಿನದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೃಷಿಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಒಂದು ಜೀವನ ಏನಿದೆ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು
ಹೌದು.
ವಿಚಾರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಸವಾಲುಗಳನ್ನ, ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳನ್ನ ಎದುರಿಸ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವಿಚಾರ.
ಹೌದು,
ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬೀಜಗಳಿರ್ಬಹುದು, ಗೊಬ್ಬರ ಇರ್ಬೋದು,
ಹೌದು.
ಕ್ರಿಮಿನಾಶಕಗಳಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕೀಟಗಳಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಕಳೆನಾಶಕಗಳಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅವರಿಗೆ ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ ಬೆಂಬಲ ಇರಬಹುದು, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಏನು ಈ ಯಾಂತ್ರೀಕರಣದ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯಗಳಿರಬಹುದು, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಾರುಕಟ್ಟೆಯ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯ ಇರಬಹುದು. ಅವರು ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಂದು ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗಿ ತಾವು ಬೆಳೆದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಉತ್ಪನ್ನಗಳನ್ನ ಸಂಸ್ಕರಣೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಗಳಿಗೆ ಮೌಲ್ಯವರ್ಧನೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಾರಾಟ ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂತಹ
ಹೌದು.
ವಿಚಾರ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಗಳಿಗೆ, ಸವಾಲುಗಳಿಗೆ ಉತ್ತರ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ರೈತ ಉತ್ಪಾದಕ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳ ಸ್ಥಾಪನೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅವುಗಳ ಮುಖಾಂತರ
ಹೌದು.
ಈ ಸವಾಲುಗಳಿಗೆ ಸಮಾಧಾನವನ್ನು ಕಂಡುಕೊಳ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಬಹಳ ಉತ್ತಮವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಇದೊಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ವಿಚಾರಗಳು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ 6,000 ಜನ ನಿಮ್ ಜೊತೆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ 2, 3, 4,
ಹೌದು.
5, 6 ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ನೀವು. ಯಾವ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಬೆಂಬಲ
ಹೌದು.
ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ನಿಮಗೆ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ನಿಮಗೆ,
ಹೌದು.
ನಿಮಗೆ ಮಾರುಕಟ್ಟೆಗೆ ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಮಾರುಕಟ್ಟೆಗೆ ಲಿಂಕ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ.
ಹೌದು.
ಅವನು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ರೈತರನ್ನ ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಅವ್ರು ಬೆಳೆದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಉತ್ಪನ್ನಗಳನ್ನ ಗ್ರೇಡಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡುವಂತಹದ್ದು, ಮಾರುಕಟ್ಟೆಯಲ್ಲಿ
ಹೌದು.
ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕುಂತು ಮಾರಾಟ ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಒಂದು
ಹೌದು.
ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ರೈತರು ಕೂಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬರಬೇಕು. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಮತ್ತು ಅವುಗಳನ್ನು ತಂದ್ರೆ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳು ಹಾಳಾಗ್ತವೆ. ರೈತನಾಗಿದ್ದಂಥವ್ರನ್ನ ನೀವು ತಂದಿದ್ದೆ ಆದ್ರೆ, ನಾನು
ಹೌದು.
ಸರ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ಫ್ರಾಂಕ್ ಸರ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ ಏನು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಮಾದರಿ ರೈತ ಉತ್ಪಾದಕ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯನ್ನ ಸ್ಥಾಪಿಸಬಹುದು. ನಮ್ಮಿಂದ ಏನು ಅಳಿಲ ಸೇವೆಯನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆ ನಾವು ಖಂಡಿತ ಮಾಡೋಣ.
ಅದೇ ಸರ್. ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ನೀವು ರೆಡಿ ಆಗಿ ಮಾಡೋಣ, ಏನ್ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಆಯ್ತು.
ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ
thank you,
ಬಂದು ಜನ
thank you.
ನೋಡಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು.
ಸರ್ ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
Thank you, Siddheshwar ji. Sir, there are some questions regarding.
Sir, you ask me any questions you can ask me.
Yes, sir. The first one was related to the BODs. Suppose we form the FPO and we need the board of directors, the capacity building. So
Okay.
from Hindupur, your jurisdiction is Karnataka. Can we send
Yes.
the board of directors, the people who we select to your excellency, your center of excellence for training and awareness programs?
ಕೇಳಿ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಜುಡಿಕ್ಷನ್ ನಮಗೆ. ಆದ್ರೂ ನಾನು
Yes.
ಹೇಳಿದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ, ಐ ಆಮ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್, ಯು ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್. ನಮಗೆ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ we have to do it. Let us do it, not an without expecting one glass of water.
Oh,
Right?
thank you so much.
We will help them.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್.
We will help them.
ಓಕೆ, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್.
ಏನು ನಮ್ದೇ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಫಾರ್ ಮೀ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಆಂಧ್ರ ಇಸ್ ಸೇಮ್, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಇಸ್ ಸೇಮ್, ತಮಿಳುನಾಡು ಇಸ್ ಸೇಮ್, ಜಮ್ಮು ಕಾಶ್ಮೀರ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಮೈ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್.
ಗಡಿನಾಡು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಸರ್, ನಮ್ದು ಗಡಿನಾಡು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಸರ್.
ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ನಾನು ಆಂಧ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಸಿದ್ದೇಶ್ವರ್ ಅವರೇ.
ಅದೇ ಪಾಗೋಡ ಸರ್, ಪಾಗೋಡ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಶಿರಾ, ಪಾಗೋಡ, ಇದು ಗೌರಿಬಿದನೂರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ?
ಅಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಅನಂತಪುರದಲ್ಲಿ ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದೆ. ಇಕ್ರಿಸಾಟ್
ಹಾ,
ಹೈದರಾಬಾದ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 6 ವರ್ಷ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ನನ್ನ 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 ಮಡದಿ, ನನ್ನ ಪತ್ನಿ ಆಂಧ್ರದ ಕರ್ನೂಲು ಜಿಲ್ಲೆಯ ಆಲೂರದವರು.
ನೈಸ್
ಬಹಳ
ಸರ್.
ನಮ್ಗೆ ಅನ್ಯೋನ್ಯ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇದೆ.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ನಾನ್
ಈಗ ನನ್ಗೆ ಅರಿವಾಯ್ತು, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಯಾವ ಕೋವಿಡ್ ಏನು ಟಚ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಈಗ. ಈ ತರ
ಮಾಡಿ.
ಜನರಾಸಿಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಸ್ಪಿರಿಟ್ ಇರೋರಿಗೆ I don't think, there is such a thing as a supreme force. They will always protect.
Sir, we have to help farmers, right? This is a very short time that we have come to this life. Maximum ಏನ್ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇದೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. We have to do it. It's our duty. ಖಂಡಿತ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ
ಡೈಲಿ ನಾ ಕನೀಸ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸರ್ ಒಂದು 50 ಜನ ರೈತರ ಹತ್ರ ಮೀಟ್ ಆಗ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್ ಡೈಲಿ ನಾನು.
ಅಲ್ಲ, ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ನನಗೆ. ನೀವು ಎಲೆಕ್ಟ್ರಿಕಲ್ ಅವ್ರದೆಲ್ಲ ಮೋಟರ್ ಕೆಡ್ತಿರ್ತವೆ, ನೀವು ಹೋಗಿರ್ತೀರಿ, ರಿಪೇರಿ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತೀರಿ. ಒಂದ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ ಸಿದ್ದೇಶ್ವರ್ ಅವರೇ, ನೀವು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭದ ಹಂತದಲ್ಲಿ ರೈತರನ್ನ ಗುರುತಿಸುವಾಗ ನಿಜವಾಗಿ ಕೃಷಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅಭಿರುಚಿ ಹೊಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಒಣ ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಮಾಡದೇ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ರೈತರನ್ನ ಗುರುತಿಸಿ. ನಿಮಗೆ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ ಆಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇದು ಒಂದೇ ಮಂತ್ರ. ತಿಳಿತಲ್ಲ? ಈಗ ನೋಡಿ, ಈಗ ನರೋನಾ ಸರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಸುರೇಶ್ ಅವರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾವ್ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರ ಬಂದಿದೀವಿ. ನಾವು
ಸರ್
ಹಿಂದೂಪುರಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ಬೇಕನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಏನಿದೆ, ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಾಗಿತ್ತು ಸುರೇಶ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ, ನೋಡಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನನಗೆ ಹೊರಗೆ ಹೋಗಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಾಗಿತ್ತು. ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬೌಂಡ್ರೀಸು ರೆವೆನ್ಯೂದವ್ರು ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಾವು ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿಲ್ಲ ಬೌಂಡ್ರೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ವಾ.
ಅದೇ ಇವಾಗ ನೀವು ಒಂದ್ ಮಾತು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ ಸರ್, ನೀವು ಬಾರ್ಬರ್ ಶಾಪ್ ನಾಗೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಒಂದು ಡೇಟಾ ಹಾಕ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವರು ಇದು ಕಟಿಂಗ್ ಇಷ್ಟು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಅದೇ ತರ ನಮ್ಮ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಅದು ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂಬೋದೊಂದು ಇದೆ ಸರ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ನೋಡಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಬಂಜಾರ
ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಷ್ಟ ಬೀಳ್ತಾರಂದ್ರೆ, ಸರ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಕಷ್ಟ ಬೀಳ್ತಾರಂದ್ರೆ ಆ ಕಷ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಫಲ ಇಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಇದು? ಯಾರು ಈ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಾಗ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲ ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಮೇಧಾವಿಗಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಈ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಒಂದು ಸರಿಯಾದ ನ್ಯಾಯ ಸಿಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂಬೋದೊಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ತಾಪತ್ರ
ಇಲ್ಲ. ನೋಡಿ, ನಾವು ರೈತರನ್ನ ಒಗ್ಗಟ್ಟಾಗಿರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಡ್ಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲ, ರೈತರನ್ನ ಕೂಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಡ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ.
ಸರ್
ನಾವೇ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದದನ್ನ. ಅವರಲ್ಲ ಪಾಪ, ಅವರು ಇವತ್ತಿಗೂ ಇನ್ನೋಸೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಉಳಿದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು.
ಹೌದೌದು ಸರ್.
ನಾನು ಒಂದ್ ಹೇಳೋದಷ್ಟೇ, ಹೇಗೆ ನೀವು ಮಂದಿರಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ, ಮಸ್ಜಿದ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ, ಚರ್ಚ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ, ಹೋಗುವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪಾದರಾಕ್ಷಿಗಳನ್ನ ಹೊರಗೆ ಬಿಡ್ತೀರಿ, ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ, ದೇವ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಬೇಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ನಿಮ್ದು ಏನು ಅರಿಕೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಅರ್ಚನೆ ಇರ್ತದೆ, ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಿ, ವಾಪಸ್ ಹೋಗೋ ಮುಂದೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪಾದರಾಕ್ಷಿಗಳನ್ನ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜಾತಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಧರ್ಮ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ರಾಜಕೀಯ ಅಫಿಲಿಯೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಪಾದರಾಕ್ಷಿಗತೆ. FPO ಒಳಗೆ ಬರುವಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಹೊರಗೆ ಬಿಡಬೇಕು. FPO ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ, ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನ್ ಬೆನಿಫಿಟ್ ಬೇಕು ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ವಾಪಸ್ ಹೋಗುವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪಾದರಾಕ್ಷಿ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ. ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಷ್ಟೇ ನೀವು ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಆಗೋದು ರೈತರು, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೇನೋ ರೈತ ರಾಜು ಅಂತ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಆ ವರ್ಡಕ್ಕೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೂ ಸೂಟ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್.
ಸರ್, ನಾನು ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಂದ್ 2-3 ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ಕೆಲವೊಂದು FPOಗಳು ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿದಾವಂದ್ರೆ, ಅವ್ರ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅವ್ರದೇ, ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಅವ್ರದೇ, ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಬಂಕ್ ಅವ್ರದೇ, ಗ್ರಾಸರಿ ಶಾಪ್ ಅವ್ರದೇ, ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸಿಂಗ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಅವ್ರದೇ, ಸೀಡ್ ಪ್ರೊಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಯೂನಿಟ್ ಅವ್ರದೇ, ಮಷಿನರೀಸ್ ಅವ್ರದೇ, ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅವ್ರದೇ. ರೈತ ಸತ್ತು ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಅಂತ್ಯ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರ ಕೂಡ FPO ಮುಖಾಂತರನೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾರು ಬೆರಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಅಂಥದ್ದೊಂದು ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಅನ್ನ ನೀವು ಹಿಂದೂಪುರದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಥಾಪನೆ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸರ್, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ.
ನಾವು ನಿಮಗೆ ಮಾರ್ಗದರ್ಶನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ನಮ್ಮಿಂದ ಏನು ಸಾಧ್ಯದ ಅಳಿಲು ಸೇವೆಯನ್ನ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕುಂತವ್ರು ಯಾರು ಏನು ಬಯಕೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದವ್ರಿಲ್ಲ. ದೇವರು ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ ನಮಗೆ, ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ. ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಬರೀ ಸೇವೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಫ್ರೀ ಸೇವೆ. ಒಂದು ಗ್ಲಾಸ್ ನಮ್ದೇ ನೀರಿನ ಬಾಟಲ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹಿಂದೂಪುರಕ್ಕೆ ಬರ್ತೀವಿ, ಕುಡಿದು ವಾಪಸ್ ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗೆ ಬರ್ತೀವಿ. ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ಸರ್. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್.
So this was related to the CBBOs, or the bodies which will incorporate the FPOs. Do we have to register formally with the governments, state governments, to do this?
Sir, this is a very different thing. CBBO means cluster based business organizations. ಈಗ ನಬಾರ್ಡ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, NCDC ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ವಾಟರ್ ಶೆಡ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, NAFED ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಅವ್ರು ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಅಂದರೆ, ಅವರು ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ರೈತರನ್ನ ಒಗ್ಗೂಡಿಸಿ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ FPO ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರ ಕೈಯಿಂದ ಅಂತ, ಕ್ಲಸ್ಟರ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳನ್ನು ಗುರುತಿಸಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ರೈತರನ್ನ ಒಗ್ಗೂಡಿಸಿ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಟಿ ಮೊಬಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್, ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ ಮೊಬಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್, ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್, ಬಿಲ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ದೇರ್ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟೀಸ್, ರಿಜಿಸ್ಟರಿಂಗ್ ದಮ್ ಆನ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆಡಳಿತಾತ್ಮಕ ಬೆಂಬಲ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅನುಭವ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಅಂಥವ್ರನ್ನ ನಾವು ಟೆಂಡರ್ ಕರೆದು ಗುರುತಿಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಏನು ಇವರಿಗೆ ಕ್ವಾಲಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ಅಂದರೆ, ಅವರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೃಷಿ, ವ್ಯವಹಾರ, ಅಕೌಂಟ್ಸು, ಲಾ ಇಂತಹ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಇರಬೇಕು. 5 ಜನ ಕನಿಷ್ಠ. ಕಳೆದ 3 ವರ್ಷಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕನಿಷ್ಠ 2 ಕೋಟಿ ರೂಪಾಯಿಗಳ ವ್ಯವಹಾರ ಮಾಡಿರಬೇಕು. ಕೃಷಿ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರು ತೊಡಗಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿರಬೇಕು. ಅಂಥವ್ರನ್ನ CBBO ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ನಾವು ಎಂಪೆನಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ದೇರ್ ಈಸ್ ನೋ ನೀಡ್. ನಿಮ್ದು ಗ್ರೋ ಏನಿದೆ, this itself can be an CBBO, and people like us will help you to promote this, right? Excellent. Because if you immediately participate, you will not qualify to be a CBBO, right? We will not plan for ಸಿದ್ದೇಶ್ವರ ಅವರೇ 6,000 ಜನರದ್ದು ಒಮ್ಮೆ ತಲೆ ಕೆಡಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ. 1,000 ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ ಗುರುತಿಸಿ, 21 ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳು ಬೇಡ, 1, 2, 3, 4 ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಸುತ್ತಮುತ್ತಲ 5-10 ಕಿಲೋಮೀಟರ್ ಒಳಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ 5 ಗ್ರಾಮಗಳನ್ನು ಗುರುತಿಸಿ, ಒಂದು ಗ್ರಾಮದಿಂದ 300 ಜನ, 750 ಜನ, 1000ದಿಂದ 1200 ಜನರಿಗೆ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ದೆಮ್, ಲೆಟ್ ದಿಸ್ ಬಿ ಸೀನ್ ಬೈ ಅದರ್ಸ್. ಅವರು ಇದನ್ನು ನೋಡಿ ನಾನು ಸದಸ್ಯರಾಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬೆನ್ನು ಹತ್ತಬೇಕು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಕ್ಯೂ ನಿಲ್ಬೇಕು ಬಂದವರು. ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಪ್ರಮೋಟ್ 6 FPOs ಆಲ್ ದ ವೇ. ಓಕೆ, 1 ವರ್ಷ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಿ ಮುಂದೆ ದೆನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಇಟ್.
Sir, yeah, since you have already said that you will be responsible for giving us all the guidance, many of my
We will
questions
help you.
already are out of the list. ಏನು ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಮಾತಾಡಂಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಫರ್ದರ್. ಆತರ ಮಾಡಿದೀರಾ. ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮರ್ ಒಬ್ರು ಮಂಜುನಾಥ್ ಏನೋ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. he is developing the app. Manju, please come online.
Hello, hi sir. Good evening.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
It was very interesting, sir. In the few minutes talk, we understood so much information. Actually, we feel very much knowledgeable now. Actually, thank you very much for this. I just have a doubt, sir. So, if an FPO comes up, since it's a private organization kind of a thing, if it comes up with its own e-commerce application, web or app, so the income what it gets, will it be pay income tax, or we have such doubts related to things.
I will give you the complete legal compliances. Maybe it will take a little more time for you to share. I will share a document with you. And Suresh ji,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Suresh,
Yes.
you can just formulate a small WhatsApp group for people who are interested in YouGrow.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Okay.
I will share some
Yes, sir.
documents, even books and
Beautiful.
other things authored by me. I will share them. That will help
Beautiful.
people to understand. As Manjunath is
Excellent.
asking about,
Yeah.
see, you can have your own e-commerce platform. I'll tell you. We have one FPO in Bidar. They have come out with a small app, and they supply entire Bidar town.
Mhm.
Yeah, through that, people will place their orders in the evening, and next day morning they go and supply. Right?
Beautiful.
So there are a lot of exemptions available with FPO. I will give you all those details.
Yeah.
As far as legal concessions given
Excellent.
by the government, and certain aspects.
Excellent.
If you are processing, if you are selling a processed product, you are eligible for GST. If you are not selling a processed product, unprocessed, just clean it and pack it and sell it, there is no GST for it. We will give you all those details.
Right.
So what you can do is,
Excellent, sir.
Hindupur is not a big town, right?
Yes.
So if you
Yes.
formulate a e-commerce platform, just catering to the city will not work.
Yeah.
If you are trying to cater it to nearby big cities, Bangalore is close to you. That is possible.
Correct. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks.
Like you suggested, I'll form a WhatsApp group with the leaders of the team, app team, and our chairman and Mr. Siddeshwar, some of the directors, and we will exchange a lot of notes, sir, on that WhatsApp group. If you don't mind, we will invite you onto that group. That'd
No
be great.
problem. No issues.
Excellent. Excellent, sir. Manju, anything else that you would like to ask?
No, nothing, sir. That was one of the.
So, I request Mr. Sushil Kumar, who's a very great listener, who's the Supreme Court advocate for a long time, very senior lawyer. Sir, kindly just can you unmute? Yeah. Yes, sir. Few words from you about the session today with Dr. Ashok.
It was a great experience to listen to the persons who feed us, Annadata. And I get a sense that they are the exploited ones. Very strange. But human nature is such that whatever can treat you can finish you also. The greed is the root problem. The middleman, the greed, so much struggle is going on in the country to remove the middleman and see what is going on in the field of agriculture. I am also from an agriculture family, but all that was lost in Pakistan. We came here as refugees and we had to start with salaries, jobs and all. But the land we had there, if it was available, I would not have been a lawyer, I would have been a farmer myself, which I like. And I am told that my grandparents, they used to go on the horse in the morning, tend to the fields. Communication was different, life was different. So if we go back to our roots, It was a great education for me to listen to all of you. And my best wishes are there. Wherever the element of fraud will come in, you can always consult me. And it's bound to come because money is involved, fraud will also come in there. That is how it
Definitely.
is. The greed
Yes, sir. Yes.
will bring in the fraud, and so we must nip the evil in the bud. Thank you so much for making me part of this great episode. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We're honored. And we have another very senior professional in information technology, a great programmer who's worked abroad and who's handling many companies. Mr. Venkat Krishna, could you kindly just unmute yourself, and if you have any questions, sir, please.
So Mr. Suresh is always very generous with words. First of all, I should thank Dr. Ashok sir for a very informative information, and the passion with which he's come forward to help us is really good. So I've never been a farmer myself, so I think from both my parents' sides they exited. The only connection I have is I grew up in Anantapur, and I've seen some farmers visit my home during my grandfather days, and this is a great connection. I really thank Ashok Alu and Dr. for his informative.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
Thank
look forward
you.
to
Thank you.
more information and see how I can help Suresh with my busy schedule. So thank you very much, sir. It was nice of you to have spent this time, notwithstanding the pressures of post-COVID recovery. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. There was one thing that you mentioned, sir, some time ago, that the farmer can become a member of two different FPOs as long as there is no conflict of interest. So can I just say that if we form a groundnut FPO in Hindupur and one more FPO after some more time for a tamarind FPO, so a single farmer now can become part of the groundnut FPO as well as part of the tamarind FPO. Is that permitted?
Now, Sureshji, it's a very interesting question you are asking. I was very clearly telling in the beginning, if two companies have altogether a different mandate, let us not about FPO which has a focus on a single commodity. It is not possible because as a farmer, I'll be producing 1, 2, 3, 4, minimum 4 to 5
Correct.
commodities. So Indapur, Anantapur and all, they are mostly focusing on groundnut based cropping system, right? And they are
Correct.
also into production of groundnuts. And there is a possibility, it's highly potential that they can produce very high quality lemon and lime based varieties of fruits, right? It is suitable, highly suitable for that. So in that case, what I would suggest, we will not restrict to a single crop. We will try to keep a multi crop based FPO. We will also try to help them, which are the important crops that are suitable to their agroclimatic situation, their soils, their crops, the water availability, and tell them these are the crops. That is one thing. Second, it is not just the production of crops, it is also the market demand available for those crops. Just production and keeping it doesn't make sense. So while we formulate an FPO, we will also try to guide you. Somebody can take up a baseline and what is the potential of producing X commodity in the group. So what is the quantity of land available? What crops can be very effectively grown? What is the USP for you to sell that crop in the market? So we will work on that. Let us not make one farmer becoming member of two FPOs. We will not encourage them to do that, but we will see. This is possible when, for example, I am a weaver. I am a weaver. I am also a farmer. I have land. I become farmer, a member in your FPO. As a weaver, I can also become member in the weavers producer organization. There is no conflict of interest there. If I am a member of an horticulture FPO, becoming member of an agriculture FPO, definitely there is a conflict of interest. So So because that is how these cooperatives failed. So we will not encourage farmers. We will try to provide them solutions for their crops and their systems. So if it is a land-based activity, let them become members in one company.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Manju has another question. Sorry, sir. Mr. Frank wants to ask something. Yes, sir.
Doctor, I've heard this one district, one crop. Is it still
OPDP,
there?
sir.
Something like that?
Sir, it is the
Huh?
focus of the current situation. For example, if you take Anantapur, groundnut is the crop, right? So that is the prime commodity that is promoted because it is to give a tagline of the district, like our GI crops, geographical indicator crops. So like I want to promote this one, but there is no restriction that farmer should produce only that crop. It will become the lead crop, the major crop, and you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other minor crops.
Thank you.
Manjunath, you can ask the question. You were planning to ask one more question, please.
Thanks, sir. So this is just a question, like just about that. Is it like some? See, the main purpose of FPO is that farmers to sell the farmers whatever they produce, right? So in case, is it meant that for whoever farmer is selling the item, is it that they must be part of that FPO, or in case that one farmer says that no, I'll just sell my goods to you. You just sell. I don't want to be part of this organization because I'm already a part of some other organization. Something like that. Is it legal like that?
Sir, this is a very interesting you have asked, right? A farmer who would not feel that it is his company or her company. We don't want such people to be part of the company. See, they should feel farmers are the owners of this company. They are the shareholders. They are the owners. They are responsible for its rise or fall, right? For example, see, the whole purpose is to help farmers to address the challenges, difficulties, problems that they are facing either in production or in marketing or in processing. So any farmer, for a simple or a small extra benefit, do not want to be part of this and then go and do somewhere else. Not look. I have been very clear to tell the most interested farmers. They should feel that it is their organization, it is their company, they are the owners. We are just trying to help them, facilitate them, guide them, handhold them for their success. One thing. Second, this FPO. No, I have seen the initial stages, people don't want to come and become members. Afterwards, I have seen cases where they stand in queue to take the membership of this. So that is there. But there is a provision in the company that we can also, for example, if I want to sell my fertilizers, which I have got it at X price, I will sell to my farmers at price. If it is not, if I'm my articles of association, sell it to non-members for those who just cover benefits, not own the initiative. Let them not be selected for such initiative. Their mind will change after some time. They should come with a changed mindset. Manjunath, did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's very clear, sir. It's very clear. Thanks, sir.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Vijay is
So the
Mr. Siddeshwar's son.
ultimate farming
Sir.
an FPO or bringing farmers under the FPO. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
You are.
yes, sir.
Just right.
Hello, Sureshji?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are audible. You're okay.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
You're audible.
what I'm saying is, it is basically for the benefit of member farmers. We should promote an opinion. We should promote a feeling in their mind that it is their own institution. They are the owners of their institution. Whether it is rise or fall, it is their deed. And one more important thing that the government has done, I did not cover it when I was talking. If I am contributing 1,500 rupees as a single share in the FPO,
Mhm.
for known or unknown reasons, the liability of the farmer is restricted only to 1,500 rupees. They will have to meet out their losses. This is the beauty of this Company Act. You understand
Can
what
you-
I'm saying, Manjunath?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got
I
it
will
now, sir.
repeat.
Yes, sir.
I have become a member by buying one share of 1,500 for
Okay, sir.
known unknown reasons. If
Yes,
my
sir.
company involves in, and then my loss restricted only to that 1,500 rupees slab.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
My property will not be attached to meet out the loss.
That's correct.
Right?
Yes, sir.
ಋಣಭಾರ ಅಂತ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು, ಆ ಋಣಭಾರ 1,500 ರೂಪಾಯಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸೀಮಿತವಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ.
Okay, sir.
ರೈತರ ಯಾವುದೇ ಆಸ್ತಿ ಅಂತಸ್ತುಗಳನ್ನು ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವರಿಂದ ಲಾಸ್ ರಿಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಬ್ಯೂಟಿ.
Limited
ಅದೇ
liability
ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್
is
ಕಂಪನಿನಲ್ಲಿ
ಇದೇನಾ sir? Limited liability.
that liability is limited only to that the value of the
Yeah.
share that you have contributed.
Excellent. Excellent. Beautiful, sir. We didn't know this part of it. So it's a democratic setup. And my only request to Mr. Siddeshwara, because he's on the ground level and he'll be mobilizing the farmers, is that he should identify small and marginal farmers to what ನೀವು ಎಷ್ಟಾದರೂ ಸಾಧ್ಯತೆಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಕೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆದಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಯಾರು ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಚಿಕ್ಕ ಪುಟ್ಟ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ ಇದಾರೋ ಸರ್ ಸಿದ್ದೇಶ್ವರ ಅವರೇ, ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ನೀವು ಆದಷ್ಟು ಮೆಜಾರಿಟಿ ಅವ್ರನ್ನೇ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ತುಂಬಾ ಹಣ
ಮೆಜಾರಿಟಿ ಈ ದೊಡ್ಡ ರೈತರು ಬೇಡವೇ ಬೇಡ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ. ಬಿಗ್ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್ಸ್ ಬೇಡ. They will start dictating terms to you.
Okay, sir.
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಯಾರು nobody can buy 2 shares. One farmer, one share.
Okay,
One
sir.
farmer, one vote. Right.
Correct, sir.
Sir, we have a Professor Ravi Kumar is on the panel. He's a programmer, software engineer. Sir, would you like to ask anything, sir?
Yeah, good evening, sir. Good evening, Ashok, sir.
Good evening, Ravi Kumar.
Yeah,
ji.
it was
Please
a wonderful session, sir. Very nicely you
Thank
had
you, sir.
explained the topics. Yeah, sir, I have only one question, sir. Regarding registration of the farmers with the FPO. So initially, I think we have some registration process. That is how we have developed the app. So now my question is, say if based on some seniority, like for example, say if that farmer has registered this year, so after 1 or 2 years, okay, he has got any option of telling us that this will be the price of my product, and is there any chance of like that, sir? Like,
No. So I tell you, very interesting question. This is the first
okay.
type of question that I am, getting it, right? Because I keep getting hundreds of questions from different people. It's a very interesting question you have asked. Maybe this will also, help me to, think about it. Very interesting thing. I tell you, sir, this is a democratic FPO democracy. All the members, whether big, small, medium, they are one and the same. They come with a single share. They have a provision to vote only once. They have a single vote. If I'm a big farmer, I cannot say I will take 2 shares and put 2 votes. No, not possible. And same thing, if I have joined the company as a first member, or I'm the very senior most member, I cannot have extra privileges to do that. Privileges are same, voting rights are same, benefits are same, but the transaction to the extent of transaction that I do with the company, my profits will differ. There is a provision in sharing of the benefits. There are two things. One is bonus. We have two types of bonus to be shared by the members. One is a general bonus. For example, if my company has made a profit of 10 lakh rupees this year, each farmer, if there are 1,000 members, will get 1,000 rupees as a bonus. So the company will decide in its general body that instead of giving 1,000 bonus to all, we will give 750 rupees bonus and 250 rupees will go into the corpus. That is one. But because of me as a farmer, whether I'm a senior farmer or an early farmer or a big farmer, a small farmer, if my contributions to the company to make a business, for example, I'm a groundnut farmer, right? And my company has got a big order to supply 10,000 tons of groundnut. All my 1,000 farmers put together, I'm not able to do it. In that case, if few farmers are big, if they can contribute more, we can also give a special bonus to them. It is absolutely at your discretion. It's not compulsory that you should give that additional bonus, but you cannot dictate prices to your own members. All of you put together, you can decide this is the price I'm going to sell it in the market. You can do. You can dictate price to the buyer, not to the other members.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So we'll take one last question, sir, for the day. We are trying to, wrap it up, but you're extremely tired, after this talk. We understand that.
No.
So kindly,
Fine,
just bear with us. One last
Yeah.
question from Vijay
No.
Siddeshwar, son of our Siddeshwaraji. Vijay, please. He's also a software engineer, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah,
Very good.
thank you, Suresh. So thank you for inviting me to the meeting. So it was a great pleasure to hear from Ashok Alur sir. So actually it was good gaining knowledge from you, sir. So actually we are from apart from all the struggles, still you are trying to push yourself forward. So that is a great inspiration that we need to learn from you. So and from all the UGRO team, we all pray that you will recover soon well and come up with good support to the UGRO team. Yeah, thank you. I don't have any questions. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very
sir.
much.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. And while wrapping it up, I thank everybody who has participated today, and Chairman Narona Saab and Mr. Sushil Kumar from Delhi who's joined us, and all our participants. I'm extremely thankful to all of you. And a special thanks to Dr. Ashok for sparing his time. And I think Vijay said the best thing for the day, that we need you for many, many more decades in order to revolutionize the agricultural sector in our country. People like you are very rare, and you are a national asset, sir, for us. And God bless you with many more achievements, more power and glory. May your tribe increase. On that note,
Thank you.
I would like to just take one last word from Mr. Frank Narona. Thank you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, before Narona sir speaks, I will tell you one thing, Suresh ji. Suresh ji,
Yes, sir.
just
Yes,
plan, put a small plan in place.
yes, sir.
See what is that idea that you want to action plan, small action plan before we meet next time. Because
Yes, sir.
in case you say, see, I have offered, yes, whatever knowledge support, training support, or any support in registering the institution, whatever is required from my side, yes, I am open. But
Yes, sir.
see, somebody has to take lead. Who will
Yes, sir.
mobilize? By when we are going to meet? So otherwise, things will not happen.
Yes, we'll have, sir.
Things will
We'll
not
have a plan and come to you,
If
sir.
Siddeshwarji takes a lead to identify 500 farmers in next 15 days time, he should collect
Yes, sir.
their names, their
Yes, sir.
details, and things like that. And then
Okay, sir.
20 farmers, Siddeshwar ಅವರೇ 20
ಹ್ಞೂ ಸರ್.
ರೈತರದ್ದು ಒಂದು ರೈತ ಆಸಕ್ತ ಗುಂಪುಗಳನ್ನಂತ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಗ್ರಾಮದಲ್ಲಿ
ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಸರ್. ಹ್ಞೂ
10
ಸರ್.
ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, 100 ಆಗ್ಬೋದು, ಅವ್ರ ಜಮೀನುಗಳು ಅಕ್ಕಪಕ್ಕ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು. 20 ಜನರದ್ದು ಒಂದು
ಹ್ಞೂ ಸರ್. ಹೌದು ಸರ್.
ಒಂದು ಗುಂಪಿನಿಂದ
ಹ್ಞೂ ಸರ್.
ಇಬ್ಬರನ್ನ ಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಗಳನ್ನ ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಿ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ 1000 ಜನರಿಗೆ ನಾವು
ಹ್ಞೂ ಸರ್.
ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಇಬ್ಬಿಬ್ಬರು ಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಗಳಿಗೆ
ಹೌದು ಸರ್.
ಸಪೋಸ್ ನೀವು 50 ಗುಂಪುಗಳನ್ನು
ಹೌದು ಸರ್.
ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ 100 ಜನ ಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಗಳಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆ 100ರಲ್ಲಿ
ಹೌದು
15
ಸರ್.
ಜನರನ್ನ ನಾವು ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಆರಿಸೋಣ. ದಿಸ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ಈಸಿ.
ಆಯ್ತು ಸರ್.
ಓಕೆ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ
ಆಯ್ತು,
ಏನಾದರೂ
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ಗೈಡೆನ್ಸ್
ಸರ್.
ಬೇಕಿದ್ರೆ ಎನಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್. ವಿ ವಿಲ್ ಡೂ ಇಟ್, ಬಟ್
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಪಿಕ್ ಅಪ್ ಅ ಸ್ಮಾಲ್ ಆಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಫಾರ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ 1
ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು
month,
ಸರ್.
15 days, 1 week, whatever it is. Otherwise
Yes,
ಸರಿ
sir.
ಸರ್. ಸರ್.
ಏನೂ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಹಂಗೆ ಉಳಿದ್ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಎಲ್ಲ
ಆಯ್ತು
ಹಾಕಿ ಟೈಮ್ ಲೈನ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಕೊಡ್ತೇನೆ ಸರ್ ತಮಗೆ ವಿತ್
Yes, sir.
ಆಲ್ ಅವರ್ ಇನ್ಪುಟ್ಸ್. ಎಸ್ ಸರ್,
Thank
ಓವರ್
you.
ಟು Frank.
Suresh, that is why Dr. Alur is called the CEO. He wants action on the ground, because I am sure there are many people who listen to long lectures, then it goes empty. So, Dr. Ashok Alur, it was a wonderful lecture, and thanks for sparing your time, and especially the practical inputs that you have given today.
Has given a quantum push, I'm sure, from this moment onwards to you grow. And Suresh is the right man. He will definitely take it forward, I'll assure you. And thanks for this great association and your generosity of time, in spite of having gone through COVID in such a severe manner. But as I told you, nothing will happen to you. But please do take care of yourself. You know, in your work, in the force of your work, sometimes we neglect ourselves. But on behalf of YouGrow, we will continue to pray for you and wishing you all the best. And we will be in touch. We'll stay in touch. Since you are in Bangalore, I would also like to meet you sometime, once when all these things settle down. Okay.
Which part of Bangalore
Thank
you live in, sir? Which part of Bangalore?
I'm in Kalyan Nagar. Kalyan Nagar.
Oh, we are very close to each other.
Howda?
My house is just opposite to Manyata Tech Park.
Oh, I see. Okay. It's about 2-3 kilometers, maybe.
Yes, we are on the same road.
Or
actually.
4-5. Yeah.
Yeah, we will catch up
So
sometime. Great.
I think I believe in law of attraction, because as Suresh says, his intention is unquestioned. And when the intention is honest, then he will attract the right people. And you are the best one he has attracted. Thank you again.
There are no words, sir, from my side. Honored. I'm honored. That's all we can say. Thank you very much, everybody. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you. Have a great evening. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, one and all. Thank you, one
Thank
and
you,
all.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Namaste.